hello. People here already. How very lovely. Oh, Elaine. Nice to see you. Rosina, life is nice. Hello, welcome. Sorry about the thing that I've got my laptop on. Oh gosh. Hello, Vian Sadiq. Elaine, hello, nice to see you. H Mash, hello. Princess Mermaid. Oh, loads of people joining. It's so nice to see you. Welcome. Gosh, I didn't think I was going to make it on time. I was in a meeting which finished 2 minutes ago. So, it's so lovely to see you. Yeah, I'm glad you can make it. Hello, Jasmine. Nice to see you. I'm very well, thank you. Hello, Paula. Nice to see you too. Kezia. It's lovely. Lovely to see you all. Oh, Polar Sobs. I've been watching your videos to calm me down the past few days. Thank you for what you do. Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. And Darcy, I'm shopping with you. How nice. What are we buying? Are we doing food shop or what are we doing? Homely Palace, Mum, you made it. Well done. Thank you for joining me. So nice. I'm so sorry about my glasses are reflecting my. You can see I've got my laptop on. Oh gosh, but lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Oh, H-Mash, you're getting a tattoo. Brilliant. That's so cool. Oh, Darcy, you're doing a holiday shop. Excellent. Oh, are you watching? Yeah, Jasmine's just saying, so Jasmine's one of my moderators, so it's lovely. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for being here. Oh, and Ollie, hello, nice to see you. Oh gosh, look. Yeah, so Jasmine was watching the last live on YouTube because they're all uploaded on my YouTube. So I'm glad you're watching it there, although you're up at midnight. Oh, and apparently there's a fire in Hertfordshire. Well, yeah, hopefully. Well, here it's pouring with rain, so hopefully if I've not seen about the fire. It's horrible, isn't it? There were fires in London too. Christina, Eva, you're back from the gym. Well done, you're better than me. I've not done anything today, but I did clean my house. I feel proud of myself for doing that. Oh, thank you for being here, everyone. Lovely to see you. So, for H-Mash, you're having your tattoo. Darcy, you're doing your holiday shop. What else? What's everyone else doing? Are you settled down with a cup of tea? Have you just nipped in, or have you just seen that I was doing a live and you thought, oh, who's that woman? What are you doing? Whatever you're doing, it is very nice to have you here. Oh gosh. Kezia, the hoovering was brief. I did it. It's done. My house looks lovely now. I put flowers in my my room where my brother-in-law's going to stay tonight, so I feel quite proud of myself. It's I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of housework. It's like my house is clean and everything, but I wish I was someone who really loved cleaning, but I don't. I like it when it looks clean. But anyway, I'm waffling on, aren't I? Happy Butterfly 54. Got your cuppa already. Excellent. This is good. This is good. Stuart, thank you. Welcome from Essex. Oh, and Alicia, nice to see you. You're house sitting. You reminded yourself of my life. I hope you're doing all right, Alicia. Lovely to have you here. That's so cool. Oh, lovely. Oh, and Just Tracy. So Just Tracy, you're here and you've just made cakes with your little girl. I love that. That's so nice. I used to make cakes with my boys. I can't remember the last time I made a cake, but I used to make a mean sponge. Right. So let me tell you, if you're new, if you've been here before, then you know what this is all about. If you're new, let me tell you. So welcome. My name's Sarah. I'm a QCH therapist, which stands for Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapy, and I've been a therapist for coming up to 7 years now. I work mainly with people who are suffering from anxiety, but other things as well, like people who have fears, about all sorts of things. People who are feeling depressed, feeling low, people who just feel stuck in their life as well. And I have a certain level of training. There are certain things that I don't work with. I know what my limits are. And so perhaps there might be questions that I won't be able to answer because, I work within a certain field. QCH Therapy is, as I say, Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapy, and that really is an umbrella term for lots of different modalities of therapy. And what we do is we want to give our focus to our client's needs. We look at their solution, we look at how we can get them to a place where all is well in their lives as best that we can. We don't spend ages looking at the past and going over and over the past. We're very much about, okay, how are you feeling? What's your lifestyle like? And we dip into the past to reframe it, to help people learn how to live their life so they can get to the place where they're really enjoying their life, and perhaps their fear is gone, and the anxiety is also gone. And hopefully you can understand much more what's going on with you and your emotional life. So I have some amazing people who give up their time to help me on my lives. So I have Jasmine Lake, who is here. I also have Lynn 250, who I've not seen yet, but that might be because I don't have my glasses on. I also have Vicky Hodson, who comes, Zanshin, Vicky Handlebars. So I have lovely moderators who keep this a really safe space, because we want this to be safe. We want people to be kind and caring. And so if there's anyone who's not, there's no conversation, they're gone. They will be blocked or deleted. So I hope that's okay. Oh dear. So yes, and I will answer as many questions as I possibly can for you. If you can only be here for a little bit, then I upload all of my lives to YouTube within the day, or perhaps the following day if I don't have time on the day. So you can watch the whole thing there if you can only spend a few minutes with us now. So you're very welcome. And I will answer as many questions as I can. So let's have a little look and see. So Viant Sadiqe, I went to the gym and had a counselling session, and I'm now watching an American Office. I love the American Office, it's so good, and I hope your counselling session went well. Elaine, you've got visitors tomorrow, so you're doing the housework. Let's have a look. Okay. So, Lily says the UK government have removed the right to abortion. We need to act now. I haven't seen about this. If this is true, then I will be acting. That is appalling, but I don't know about that. So I will look into it after my live. Okay, so let me just see. Oh dear, no, I don't share my lives. I'm afraid I'm quite selfish, so I will decline if you ask to go live with me. So this is an interesting question. Izzy McGee, do you struggle with hearing everyone's problems on top of your own? So no, I don't actually. If I'm brutally frank, I don't, because the way that I've been trained, and I think the way most therapists are trained, is that if you allow yourself to go deep into the story of what's happened to someone, well, it would be awful, wouldn't it? It's different. I have my therapy head on, my work head on, so that I'm empathetic, I'm compassionate, I'm kind and caring, but at the same time, I can draw a boundary, because what I want to do is to help the people that come to see me, and it's not going to help if I'm in floods of tears or getting emotional about stuff. Not to say that there haven't been times. There have been the odd times where I have dug my fingernails into the palm of my hands because something that someone has said has moved me. So it's not that I'm not moved, but I don't, I get to the end of the session and it's like I'm able to shut the door on that and not not be affected. I do think about my clients in between sessions because I'm thinking, like, how can I help them? What's the next step? That sort of thing. But I don't think it's helpful to me to get emotionally involved to that extent. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So Smoothie Knox 87 says, can you suggest any help for emetophobia? So in the last couple of lives, I've actually talked a bit about emetophobia. So it might be worth going to my YouTube page, which is linked to on my bio. And there might be, perhaps that would be helpful for you. Sorry to not answer right here and now. So the Hamley Palace mum, my daughter's terrified of flying. Any tips? And also Vian Siddiqui, my ex-partner, sent me an email to tell me he'd now started seeing someone I've finally let go. So I'm really happy to hear that. Sometimes it takes something like that, doesn't it, for you to be able to let go. So congratulations. And now perhaps that means that you can just live the rest of your life and really focus on the future and all the amazing things that you can do. So let's think about fear of flying, because this is something that a lot of people feel. And rationally, you probably know that flying is the most, or your daughter knows, that flying is the safest way of travelling. But it's not our rational brain that is the issue here, is it? It's our emotional brain, it's our nervous system and the survival response, the protective response that is being kicked in here. And it may well be that perhaps your daughter has had a difficult experience on a plane herself, maybe experienced turbulence or something like that, or maybe seen something on the news, read something, who knows. And any of those things are enough for her nervous system to believe that it's a dangerous thing to do. So it can be really helpful to see a therapist. I don't know how old your daughter is, and to go back and reframe that significant emotional event that she's been through. But also, what I find helpful working with clients is to break down, to sort of chunk down what is actually the thing that she's afraid of. So when does the fear start? Does it start from the minute you book a holiday? Or does it arrive a few days before? Is she okay until she gets to the airport, or you're in the car going to the airport? Is she all right at the airport, but it's the taking off? Or is it the landing that she's afraid of? So if you can chunk it down and narrow it down to the thing that she's really afraid of, that can be helpful. Because if she understands that, oh gosh, that's only actually a really small amount, hopefully, of the fear of that period of time, and all the rest, look at how exciting the rest of it is, then that can be helpful. It can be helpful to have coping mechanisms to help with the fear. So for example, I used to be quite afraid of flying. I used to grip my husband's hand. Poor man would be in pain because I'd be gripping his hand, and I'm not too sure what it was that helped me. I think just over time I just began to realise it's okay, I'm all right with flying. But things that can be helpful can be breath techniques. They can be being curious about all the people around you. I used to do that. I used to tell stories to myself about all the people around me. I'd look at them and I'd think, I wonder where you're going. I wonder what your story is. I wonder what your job is. I wonder what the relationships are between you. I wonder, all of that kind of stuff can be helpful. And what that does is diverts the mind away from how she's feeling into curiosity about her environment. And all of a sudden you're so busy worrying, and not even worrying, but being curious about the people around you, that you forget about what you're experiencing. Also being in the moment, here and now, having stuff to do. If she's younger, to have, to download some films for her to watch, to have stuff on her, if you've got an iPad, to watch that. All of that kind of thing can be really helpful. I know with younger children, to have a whole variety of stuff, so that you're not just stuck, I've just got this film to watch and that's it, but to have colouring books, to have books to read, to have drawing materials so that they can draw, to have a journal so that they can write down, be writing a story, all sorts of things like that. Use your imagination and ask her, involve your daughter with, what would you like to do? What can we do that will be fun when we're going on our big adventure? Does that make sense? So it's about making it an adventure, helping her to feel safe. All of that can be really helpful. So good luck. I hope those things work well for you. Let's have a look. So Lady D Bell, any tips on anxiety or a panic attack while driving? So it's difficult to, when, you know, a panic attack, I did a video recently about a panic attack, and someone else asked me this question about what do you do when you're driving. Well, the most important thing to do is to know that you're safe when you're driving. So I would say if you can feel a panic attack coming on, and if it's a panic attack where you're really going to be in a difficult state, then I would say if it's safe to pull over, then to pull over. Because once you're pulled over in the car, whether that's, you know, the side of the road, just pull off into a quiet road somewhere, then you can use any techniques that you might have to just bring yourself to a nice calm place again. And then when you're in that nice calm place, you can carry on, because any panic attack that you have is going to reach its peak and then it's going to start coming down again. And it might not necessarily be the driving that's triggered a panic attack. It might be something else. So perhaps the panic attack, you use the techniques, the breath techniques, all of that kind of thing, come to a place where you're feeling okay, and then off you set again. So that would be my advice, because the most important thing is to be safe. It's the same as if you're panic attack, you know, if you're out in the shops and you have a panic attack, I give you the same advice, is to find somewhere, perhaps a wall somewhere, just to sit down, just have a quiet moment, just to bring yourself to a place where, okay, all is well. So I hope that helps a little bit. Thank you so much. I can see little hearts going up on my screen, and I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Caring Whisper, your heart. That's so sweet of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So here, Kiana M, self-esteem. So self-esteem is such an interesting thing to talk about, because I think many of us will, either right now or in the past, or we'll have that sense of not feeling good enough, and that sense of, am I enough? Am I good enough? I'm not really confident in what I'm doing. And it's a horrible feeling, isn't it? I've felt that myself in the past. It's oh my goodness, you're so kind. I can see all those roses. Thank you. You're so kind. And thank you. I can see the little hearts. This community is so wonderful, and I so appreciate what you give to me. I really do, because all of your comments, the fact that you turn up to my page, the fact that you come to my lives, it means the world to me. It really does. So thank you so much. It does wonders for my self-esteem. Going back to your question, Kiana. So self-esteem is something I think that we all are on a journey to creating, aren't we? None of us are yet who we're going to be. And it's that sense of connecting to the world in the best way that we can, accepting that we don't have to be perfect to be a good person. You know, so many people feel like, oh, I'm not good enough at this, I'm not good enough at that, and then that makes me as a person not good enough. But the fact is that we all go through life hopefully trying new things, and when you try new things, you're never going to be as good doing something for the first time as you are when you do it for the 100th time. And it's that sense of being okay, learning to be okay with being vulnerable and not being very good at stuff, because that's the only way that we're ever going to be good at stuff. Does that make sense? And so by doing that, by connecting, reaching out, stepping out of our comfort zone into the amber zone, maybe just a little tiptoe into the amber zone, where we're leaning into the discomfort of thinking, oh, I don't feel comfortable doing this, but then coming back and realising, it's okay, I'm safe. That's the thing that builds confidence. That's the thing that helps us to begin to realise, oh, maybe I am all right, you know. But also I think connecting with other people, if you are kind to other people and you make other people feel good about themselves, it has that funny way of making you feel good about yourself too. So I think that's really important as well. And that thing that I said right at the start there is that none of us are who we're going to be yet. So, you know, that's the thing to remember. It's okay if you're not perfect. So I hope that helps a little bit. It's that gradual journey, that gradual process. So, hello, snorts to Caroline. It's nice to see you. I hope you're okay today. So Helen B 1979 says, I'm taking sleeping tablets for anxiety. So that's one of the things that I was, right at the beginning, I said my training reaches a certain boundary. I'm not medically qualified. I'm not a doctor. So medication is not something that I can comment on, I'm afraid. It's something, it's something to have a conversation with your doctor about, okay? Let's have a look. Oh gosh, just scrolling through lots and lots of comments, and for those of you who are just joining us, you're really welcome. So nice to have you here. This is a safe space, and I have moderators here who are helping me. So I've got Jasmine Lake, and I've got Lynn 250 and Vicky Hodson and Sanshin and Vicky Handlebars. So oh, I thought there was a cat outside. It wasn't. It was like a flower. Sorry, I digress. Anyway, so a few of you I can see are asking, what is QCH Therapy? And that is such a good question. So QCH Therapy, QCH stands for Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapy. And that is what I do. It's what I'm trained in. It's a therapy that is... Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapy was founded by Trevor Sylvester. 22 years the Institute has been training therapists to be QCH therapists. It's an umbrella term really for lots of different modalities of therapy. We do things like NLP, we do hypnotherapy, but it's not traditional hypnotherapy where you get put in a trance, or no one does that, but you know what I mean. It's much more conversational, because we believe that people are going in and out of trance all day, every day. You know those moments where you're driving the car and you get to where you're going and you think, oh my goodness, did I go through red lights? I can't even remember how I got here, because you're just on automatic pilot. Those times where you're watching a telly and someone asks you, do you want a cup of tea? And you don't hear them because you're so engrossed. And we use that because we believe that problem states, when we go into protective behaviour, such as anxiety, such as low mood, such as panic attacks, all of those things, those are also trance states. So it's almost like dehypnotizing you from those. So it's very solution focused. It's about looking to how can we make this person live the life, or find the way themselves to live the life they want to live, have the life skills to be able to do that, and also make it all about you. It makes the client is the most important person, looking at what are your needs. And we use loads and loads of different tools to help with that. So I hope that helps to explain a little bit. So let's have a look. See. Let me have a look. Cheryl Jones 5677. So you say, since losing my husband and then COVID, I feel I'm in a small bubble. I'm feeling anxious. I'm so sorry that you've lost your husband. That must be incredibly hard. And that's a traumatic event, isn't it, to lose someone that we love. And of course, COVID has been a traumatic event that has lasted, since 2020 and is ongoing. So for you to have had to go through that is really, really difficult, and I do feel for you. I think that it's very natural to feel anxious, to feel that sense of the world getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and for you to feel that you're in like a tiny bubble. So what can you do about that? Well, I think the first thing for you to know is that it's okay. It's completely normal and natural, and you're not alone in you feeling like that. I really feel for you. And I would imagine that there are many people on this call who they may not have lost anyone as you have, but everyone on this call has been through COVID and will understand the trauma of that, and they perhaps have been through their own trauma as well. So hopefully there's a sense of understanding there. When we've been through trauma, our nervous system will trigger fight or flight, trigger protective behaviours, and it's very understandable that perhaps our world starts to get smaller and smaller because it becomes a frightening thing to reach out, to know, is it safe to reach out, to go out, and especially if you're grieving, that makes it doubly difficult, doesn't it? So that sense of the world being a very tiny place, a safe space being a very tiny place, is completely understandable. So it's a slow and steady journey that you go through, and it will be completely unique to you. So I think be kind to yourself, speak kindly to yourself. Don't expect for things to change really quickly. I think to be able to bring self-care into your life, to connect with people that you feel safe and comfortable with, is really important. And to be able to connect with, I always say this to my clients, to connect with other people that you feel safe with. Connect to yourself in whatever way feels comfortable, whether it might be meditation, it might be reading, it might be an activity that you just do that just brings you to a sense of who you are and where you are, that self-reflection. Also that sense of connecting with animals. If you have animals, they can be very comforting. Connecting with nature, connecting with exercise maybe, and that can be just a gentle walk, doing gardening, all the way through to rock climbing and all of that kind of thing. But also that sense of, oh, my son's just come in, hello son, that sense of connecting with creativity, with learning. All of these things open doors for you, but to do it in your own time so that it feels safe. I hope that helps a little bit, and I do feel for you. But I'm so glad you're here. It's so lovely to have you as part of our community, and hopefully you'll see here that there's a lot of support from a lot of people. So, I hope that helps a little bit. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Kate B002. So caught as an SA victim triggered my anxiety. Okay. Not guilty. I feel stuck, no longer work, no friends. I'm 23. Gosh. So I'm really sorry that you've had to go through that. How incredible, how courageous of you to take that to court. I have absolute admiration for you, because I know that that's not easy at all. And I think it's completely natural that your world will have just gone from like this, and that you will have reduced your connection to the world. And I think it's very natural that you would feel that the world is, the safe part of your world is a very small place. So I absolutely feel for you. I saw that Jasmine Lake commented. Jasmine's one of my lovely moderators, so thank you, Jasmine, for that. And I would agree that it's really important to reach out to the people that you do trust, to let them know how you're feeling. There are lots of charities. I know that there are people who are trained to help you in your specific situation, and there will be charities. I'm really sorry, I'm thinking offhand what charities there are. I don't know if anyone in the comments, maybe if my moderator Vicky Hodson is here, you may have ideas for charities that perhaps Kate could reach out to. But I think probably the first place to go to would be your GP would definitely have suggestions for this, and that might be the first place to reach out to. Just trying to rack my brain. If you wanted to get in touch with me, if you wanted to email me, then I could perhaps send you stuff privately that might be helpful to you. But I would say it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. I think it's a completely natural and normal response to feel probably really let down by the system and feel not safe. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are not safe, but it certainly can feel that way. This is not an area that I'm an expert in, but I think it's definitely an area where there is lots of help, and I think it's important that perhaps you are able to access help so that you get the support that you need, so you can have a trusted and trained and safe person to be able to talk this through with. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'm sorry I can't help more in the moment, but do contact me and I'll do my best for you. I'm not saying you've got to pay or anything like that. Just, I'm happy to send you resources and help. Let's have a look. Yes, Jasmine says QCH. I've already talked about what QCH is. If you look on my profile, there's links to the Quest Institute and QCH My Quest, which are lots of free resources for anyone who's interested in mental health and mental well-being. Do have a look on there. Loads and loads of free stuff, and they will explain exactly what it is. Oh my goodness. So Berry Banks, I found out my dad's cancer is terminal. He doesn't have long to live and I don't know how to feel. Oh my goodness. Well, I feel for you. That's a big thing to find out, isn't it, about someone that you love, and I'm so sorry. I think it's completely natural and normal to not know how to feel. That's probably something that many of us have never experienced, and it's probably the first time that you've ever experienced something like that, and it is probably a huge shock, and it's hard to know what to think, what to feel. I think my advice would be that whatever you feel is okay. Be kind to yourself, that it's all right whether you feel numb, whether you feel shocked, whether you feel overwhelmed with emotion. All of those things are absolutely fine and absolutely normal. And it will be a journey of different feelings, like a roller coaster, and it's important that you talk about how you're feeling. But I also would say, if you can, to talk to your dad, to absolutely make the most of the time that you have together, because this is time where you can create memories together. It's important to have those conversations, to say all the things that you need to say to each other. I know when I spoke to, when my dad was dying, we didn't have those conversations, really. We were a bit afraid, because I didn't know if he knew that he was dying, and it was really difficult, and I felt embarrassed, and I didn't know how to raise the topic. But what I did do was I told him that I loved him, And that's massively important. Even if it's hard to have those really in-depth conversations, actually, even if you can just say those words to let him know that you really love him, and all of those things, you will be totally unique to anyone else, and the relationship you have with your dad will be totally unique. So have a think, maybe, and think about, what do you want to be able to look back on? Because sadly there will come a moment when he will pass away, and I'm so sorry about that. But would there be a legacy perhaps that you could create for him? Is there something that he would like you to do when he's no longer here? And that can be something very special between you, either between you two or you as a family, perhaps. So those conversations are really essential. Do have a look at my page, some of the coping techniques, the self-care. The coping techniques can help you in those moments, but it's okay to feel emotion. It's okay to cry. It's also okay to be numb, because sometimes when we're numb, it's our nervous system protecting us, helping us to just get through this really difficult time, and the emotion will come. So, I hope that helps a little bit, and my heart goes out to you. It's not an easy thing that you're going through. So Rubs Beer. Hi Sarah, I struggle when anyone tries to prove me wrong, but I know I'm not wrong. I get really angry. So that's a really interesting question, isn't it? That sense of anger, knowing that you're right. And when we get angry, what we tend to find is that underneath the anger is a need that's not being met. So I always say to my clients who come to me with anger issues, anger stuff, what I say is that it's completely normal to get angry. What can be helpful is to look at the pattern of anger. When are you getting angry? And you know that you get angry when you know you're right, and people are sort of not accepting that from you. And what does that come down to? Is that perhaps you feel that they're not respecting you? Are you feeling a bit out of control? What's going on there? It's only you will know that. And actually it's about looking at that need, really, and understanding, okay, why do I need this respect? What's going on there? Because maybe that comes down to a sense of self-esteem, self-confidence. I don't know. I'm not sure. Am I being helpful here? But it's okay to get angry, but it's also okay to let go, because you don't have control over what other people think. If you know that you're right about something, then you're right about it. But we can always learn from other people, because sometimes we think that we're right on every aspect of this thing, but maybe we can learn from their point of view. So I think, in this modern age, I sound like an old granny there, but we have this sense of I'm right, you're wrong, and it's very polarised, isn't it? It's like black and white. I'm right, you're wrong. And is it always like that? I always feel like I can always learn from people. There's always something that I can learn, and sometimes like I can learn about them. I ask the question, what's that about? What is it about your background that makes you think that thing you believe is absolutely right? But then I can ask myself, what is it about my background that makes me believe I'm absolutely right? And it's about being able to have that conversation. Maybe it's more useful to have a conversation, adult to adult, about, what's going on here, what's your point of view, what's my point of view, and maybe even agreeing to disagree in the middle somewhere. Because the anger, how does that really serve you? So how do you stop getting angry? It's a protective response. So it's probably I suppose if you can create a gap and ask yourself that question, what's this about? Why am I getting angry? And just, that old thing of count to 10, but you can do that. You can do some breathing techniques. You can be curious about it, be an observer of the situation rather than being in there, full in there, really angry. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's helpful a little bit. Okay, let me scroll and have a little look at some questions. Okay. Oh my goodness, they're coming thick and fast. Thank you so much to everyone that's joining us. Thank you for asking so many questions. I do try my hardest to answer as many as I can. I don't want to just skim questions. I want to be able to give everyone a good, thorough answer to their question. I hope that makes sense, and that's why I record all of my lives, so they're on my YouTube. So stuff that I've not covered today, stuff like agoraphobia, emetophobia, health anxiety, that kind of stuff, social anxiety, I've covered those in the past. So if I'm not answering those questions today, that's the reason. And I've started trying to write down what I've covered in the YouTube so that you can see, this is the one that will cover my thing that's linked to in my profile. So I hope that's helpful. So I try to answer as many questions as I can. Let's have a little look. This is really interesting. So when something traumatic happens, why don't people process it immediately? Well, it's a slow process. So what happens is something traumatic happens and we do begin to process it straight away. And quite often, I always remember when, when was it? I think it was the Grenfell Tower disaster. In my community of therapists, people were saying, what can we do? How can we give? How can we help? And actually, what happens is that when there's something like that, actually therapy-wise, like practically wise, it can be really helpful to help people practically and to give support and to be a listening ear. But as far as therapy is concerned, it's probably better to wait a little while, because our brains are amazing and they do begin to process trauma straight away. And a lot of the time we can do our own work, we can process the trauma that we've been through, and we get to the other side and we maybe have something like post-traumatic growth, which is a wonderful thing. It's where we've been through trauma and actually it can be a springboard to help us to do something amazing, maybe to help other people. So we don't rush in to give therapy straight away necessarily. When you get to the stage, perhaps down the road a bit, and everyone's different, that's when perhaps you do need to have help with processing the trauma, if that makes sense. So everyone is different, and there's no one's failed if they don't process the trauma, it's at all, because we've all had traumatic events in our lives, and it's those events that have made us the people that we are, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's put us into a protective behaviour which is not making our life as happy as we want it to be, and so we need to begin to sort of get help to deal with that protective behaviour, if that makes sense. So I hope that does. So let's have a little look. Let's have a look. Just scrolling through some of these questions. Zanshin, lovely to see you. Zanshin is one of my moderators, and Zanshin, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So I'm just, do you know what I really love is I've got these amazing people, my moderators, who keep this space safe, but they also are really interactive in the comments, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. Let's have a look. Yeah, and oh no, didn't mean to do that. Sorry, hang on. Okay. Oh my goodness, okay, the fainting goat. Can you help? I'm struggling a lot not to die tonight. Okay, so firstly, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you had the courage to reach out and make that comment. So all of us here, I personally certainly appreciate that you are here, and none of us want you to die tonight. And the first thing that I would say is that there will be a solution to whatever is going on in your life. That is not that. Death is not a solution. Death will cause devastation to all of those people who know you. You will have touched so many more lives than you perhaps you're aware of. What I would say is that, as Jasmine Lake said, it's very important that you reach out and that you are not by yourself at this moment in time. So if you are alone right now, then please go and be with someone that you trust and that you know you can keep safe around, whoever that might be. If there's no one around you, then you can call 999. If you're at that place where you think that you are close to wanting to take your life, then please call 999 right now. If you don't want to call 999, if this is in the UK, then you can call the Samaritans on 116 123, and they will speak to you, they will listen to you, and they will be able to keep you safe. They have amazing training and they are good, kind people. So I would say that to you right now. Please keep yourself safe for now, because we care, and I think that there are probably people on this call right now, on this live, who have felt similar to the way that you've felt, and they've had the courage to keep going. And I know it takes courage, but keep going, stay alive, and that they have seen life can get to a place where it can be full and a place worth being. You might not believe that right now, and I can understand that you might not believe that, but actually it is very, very true. So that is my advice to you. Please don't be alone. Please reach out for help, either to someone in person that you know right now, someone you can call, someone that you can go round to their place. And if there's no one like that, then please call either Samaritans on 116 123 or call 999 if you're feeling suicidal. It's very, very important, because this feeling that you're experiencing right now will pass. Okay, so please stay on the live and just let us know that you're okay, because it matters. All right, and thank you for making that comment. All right, I'm going to carry on, and I'm just going to have a look at see how everyone else is doing. Let's have a look. So Faith Armstrong too. Firstly, let me just say as well, if that's triggering for anyone, if that's upsetting for anyone, that last comment, then be kind to yourself too. I know it can be upsetting, and we all care, don't we? All of us want everyone to be all right and to be safe, and we understand that it's really hard. Sometimes life is a struggle. So you will be kind to yourselves as well. Okay, just take a moment. Okay. So, Faith Armstrong too. I'm constantly anxious I'm going to faint, which has made me anxious to go anywhere now. So, and Zanshin says underneath, have you spoken to your GP? That's exactly what I would say as well. You know, I don't know whether it's a fear that you're going to faint or whether you do feel faint regularly. The first thing to do, if you have any physical symptoms at all ever, is always to go and see your GP, to contact your GP, to call the NHS helpline 111, that's always the first thing, to get yourself checked out physically, because it may well be something that can be easily sorted, and that they'll be able to help you with that, because it's not down to me to be making any sort of diagnosis ever. I don't diagnose anyone, and I certainly wouldn't be doing that on a TikTok live. That just would be wrong. But if you've been to your GP and you know that it's not anything physical, and you know that it's an anxiety thing, then I would say to go and have a look at my page and have a look at some of the info on anxiety, have a look at some of the techniques and the breath techniques, because with anxiety, often because of the change in our physiology, it can change how we feel. It can make us feel faint. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to faint at all, but the techniques that I share can help you with that. And the chances are that you're not going to faint in public at all, or anywhere. But for anyone who's ever feeling faint, if you are feeling faint in public, the first thing to do is just make sure that you're safe, and that can mean sitting down, so that, you know, if you did faint, you're not going to fall and bang your head or anything. I used to feel faint when I was a teenager, hormones and all that, and that was always the first thing. I'd sit down, didn't matter if it was just on the pavement. You might feel a bit daft, but actually it's better to feel a bit daft and be safe than hurt yourself. So to sit down, to let people know what's going on. People are very kind and ready to help. I always remember the only time I properly fainted was I was on holiday in Spain, and one minute I was feeling faint, and I felt like everything was going a bit black, and the next thing I know I was on a bus, and this lovely big Spanish lady was reaching over me with a fresh orange that she'd cut, and she was dropping orange juice in my mouth. I don't know if that was health and safety wise. I don't know how safe that was, but it was absolutely the most delicious orange I've ever had, and a little bit of sweetness was lovely for me. But I think if you've got a fear of something, reach out to your GP. Be as kind to yourself as you can. Do some of the coping techniques, and potentially go and talk to someone. If there's a fear you have, then a therapist can help you to deal with that fear, find out where it's come from, and reframe it so you don't have to feel it anymore. So I hope that's helpful for you. So, oh goodness me, I've nearly had an hour go by. These lives just absolutely fly by, and it's so lovely that you joined me here, and thank you so much to all of you who are here, everyone who's asking questions and following me and sharing it, and I really appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. Let's have a look. Yes. So Carrier and FT Makeup, I see Zanshin is replying to something that you said, saying relaxation and breathing techniques can assist with IBS. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've worked with a few people who've experienced IBS, and actually hypnotherapy, cognitive hypnotherapy can be very helpful, but a lot of the techniques that I share on my page can be very helpful, because often, I don't know if you experience this, but IBS can flare when you're very stressed. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that if you bring your levels of stress to a nice low level, if everything's nice and slow and steady, and you can tell your nervous system through the physical techniques that I share, if your nervous system knows that you're safe through that, then it can have a really positive effect on the IBS. So definitely, I would have a little scroll through, take your time, and see what can be helpful to you. Thank you, Phoebe. Okay, so Charlotte Jury, best way to deal with being overstimulated, i.e. by noise or children. I find it hard to calm down. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, noise? I think if you're a really audio person, if you're very sensitive to noise, it can be very difficult, and I think creating an oasis of time each day where you can remove yourself from that can be really helpful. I know when my boys were little, the noise was the thing that really got to me. It was absolutely awful, and so I feel your pain. It's really, it can be difficult, and I think creating those boundaries of making sure that you do have time for you, and rules, I mean, if you've got children in your household and they are really noisy, I mean, there's a difference, isn't there, between natural children's play and children being a being a pain and being out of order and screaming. And one of the rules in our house is no screaming. Screaming is for when you're in danger, and so it just wasn't allowed. You can shout and you can laugh and all of that kind of stuff, but screaming, no. So I think that can be really helpful. And again, I always say this, but do go and have a look on my page. There's lots of information about anxiety, but also information about lots of soothing techniques that can help you in the moment, just to feel calmer. Breath techniques can help this. But if you're trying to do that and you've got kids screaming and just being full on, it's so exhausting. So if you can find a way, if you have a partner, or if you have a way of being able to take yourself away, and say for example, you're spending a lot of time with your children, like summer holidays, it's about planning in advance and going, okay, I need time for me. That's okay to be able to do that. I know it might not be easy, but it's doable, and it will make a world of difference if you have that thing to look forward to. So okay, so we are very close to finishing. So I'm going to do I think one more question, but before I have a look for that, what I want to say is thank you to everyone who's been here on this live. I do lives every Monday and every Friday. My Friday lives are at 5 o'clock, 5 till 6, that's UK time. My Monday lives are 10 a.m. in the morning, UK time. And thank you so much to my moderators. I have Jasmine Lake, I have Lynn 250, I have Zan Shin, I have Vicky Hudson, and I have Vicky Handlebars. All of them give up their time for free. They don't get anything for doing this. It's just the kindness of their hearts to keep this a safe space. And so it's so lovely that they do that, and they have the chats that I know they have with many people. My apologies, I am blind as a bat, so when I'm not wearing my glasses I can't see anything that's going on the screen, apart from I can see the little red hearts going up, which is just really lovely, so thank you for that. I try and answer as many questions as I can. If you've not had your question answered, then it might be worth looking at my YouTube channel, because I will have answered lots of questions there on the various lives that I've done, and you can sit with a cup of tea and watch that, pause it, and so on. And I upload them every time I do a live. I upload. So yeah, and also in my profile there's loads of resources there, loads of free stuff and any information you might be interested in. So let me have a little look, see if I can answer. Let's have a look. Oh, just trying to scroll through to see if I can choose. I'll drop in chat. I'm not blind, I'm just short-sighted, so I can see, but it's like I need glasses to see to see the screen. So let's have a look. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Jasmine. Did I say it wrong? So it's okay. I forgot. It's 5 o'clock Monday, 10 a.m. Friday. Sorry. Oh, rubbish. So thank you. What would I do without you? Let's have a look. The fainting goat. I hope you're okay. Let me know you're all right. Just seen you gave a little heart to Jasmine, so that's lovely. Let's have a look. Okay. Just having a little look to see. Oh, fainting goat. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and I'm really glad that you came. And I think perhaps go and have a sleep. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Just have a nice sleep, and things often feel different when you wake up. But even when you wake up, do reach out to someone, someone that you can trust, someone, whether that's your doctor, whether that's a friend, whether it's a family member. I know it's really hard because we feel that sense of, oh, I don't want to bother them, or they don't mind. No one will be bothered. They will be so glad that you reach out, and they will do their best to help you and keep you safe. So please keep yourself safe for now. Okay. So I'm just looking. Let's have a look. Okay, so so strawberry. How do I stop crying if I'm anxious or triggered in social situations? I cry so easily. And Amy also saying that you shout at your boy, but you don't want to. So there's two things there. So the difference between anxiety and panic attacks, they're the same. An anxiety attack and a panic attack is the same thing. Anxiety is fight or flight. It's your nervous system believing that you're in danger and triggering you into protective behaviour. And that can be because of a certain thing that's happening here and now, like maybe you've got a driving test coming up and you're feeling anxious, or it can be a chronic thing because you're triggered every day by past events. And if you have an anxiety or panic attack, then that is more of a spike in those feelings. So it's almost as though your system thinks, well, they're not listening to me, they're not listening to what I'm trying to tell them. So your nervous system will be either putting you into flight or into fight or into freeze, making you feel so grim that you either remove yourself from a situation or you're trying to fight your way out of it, or maybe you just you just want to hide away and hope the world goes away from you. And if you're pushing yourself out into the red zone, you're keeping going, putting yourself in that environment because you don't perhaps have a choice, then your nervous system can trigger a panic attack. And that is when everything is just really heightened, and it's different for everyone. You can feel horrendous, you can feel like you're having a heart attack, you can feel like you're going to die, you can feel you're going to faint, you can't breathe. You could also really not feel anything, but you get the stuff like pins and needles, hand freeze, hand paralysis, feeling of dread. So it's different for everyone, and those panic attacks will pass, but I know that they feel horrendous when you're in them. So I did talk about panic attacks in my last live, so perhaps go back and have a wee look at that. And that might be helpful. And I did a short video about panic attacks. Two. I did two videos, part 1 and part 2, about panic attacks, which hopefully will explain what they are and what to do. Hopefully they're helpful to you. Amy, you were talking about shouting at your son. I don't know how old your son is. Our children certainly know how to press our buttons, don't they? They know how to trigger us. I know when my kids were little, I was very, very angry a lot of the time. For me, it was because I was really struggling to have children. I found it really, really difficult, and I ended up realising that, being diagnosed with postnatal depression. I'm not saying that that's what you have at all, because being angry is part of the fight response. So what's going on there? Is life a bit overwhelming for you? Is your son, is it really difficult? Is he going through difficult times at the moment? So it's about, I was talking about anger earlier on, it's about looking at the anger, looking at the pattern of when do you get angry, what's going on, in those times and looking at the need that's not being met in those times. Is it that you don't have a safe space? Is it that you've tried to go and do something and your son is sort of interrupting you and you can't do it, and you're trying to multitask and you can't? Is it because he's being rude to you, and maybe he's a teenager and he's being obnoxious to you, and no one likes that. So I think what I would say is to, as best you can, keep both of you safe, so that you walk away, talk to someone that you trust and say, I'm really struggling with this. I'm shouting all the time. For me, a real trigger was bath time, because my boys were tired, I was tired. It was like 6 o'clock. I couldn't wait for them to go to bed. And I remember I used to shut the bathroom window because I would scream at them. It was awful. But it was because I was so tired. It was so hard being a mum. So I think that it's amazing that you're sharing that, because you won't be alone in that feeling. And it's that sense of, okay, now that you know that that's an issue and you don't want to shout at them. I used to, my boys would be in bed asleep, and I'd go in when they were asleep and I'd cry and think, I can't believe I shouted at you. You're like an angel. I love you so much. But every bath time, it was awful. So I would say reach out, talk to whoever else is in your household, talk to maybe a close friend, a family member, maybe go and see your GP and if you can, I know it's hard at the moment, and see what's going on there, see if you can get the help that you need. And maybe if your son's old enough, you can talk to him and say, listen, I don't want to be shouting at you, but we're, to have this conversation when you're both in a good, calm space, and say, how can we work this out together? 'Cause I don't want to shout at you. I love you. Let's think of a strategy between us. So I hope that helps a little bit. I feel for you. It's horrible, isn't it? So that was 2 questions that I've answered there. Yeah, and Zanshin, I just saw there's no book on parenting. It's so true. We all just do our best, and our children love us. I say to my kids now, I'm so sorry I was just such a rubbish mum when you were little. And they're like, no, mum, you were so lovely. And I think, oh my goodness. So yeah, all we can do is our best. And you are doing your best by asking for advice with this issue. So well done you. So anyway, it is 10 past and I have gone over my time. So my apologies for that. Apologies for my moderators. You should all be going and getting your dinner and having cups of tea and everything. But I want to thank you all for being here so much. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. If you followed me, thank you for following me. If you've asked a question and I've answered it, then I hope it's been helpful. If I've not answered your question, feel free to email me a question. All the details are on my profile. And thank you so much for all the likes, the shares, the follows, the gifts that you sent. It's very, very kind of you. My next one is Friday. It's Monday today, so it's Friday at 10 a.m. Jasmine will correct me if I'm wrong. But you're very welcome to come along then. What I'll do is I'll post that on my profile, and so that will turn up as a reminder on all of my videos this week. I post every day, like 2 or 3 times a day. And so you can set a reminder if you fancy, or you can register. It's all free. Everything is free that I do. So you'll be very welcome to come along. So I'm going to press the finish button any second now. But I like to see your comments, because it does my self-esteem marvels to see all your kind words. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So thank you, Shelley. Oh, lovely to have you on my live. Thank you for coming along the first time. Thank you, Ben Royston. Thank you so much. Sanshin, have a lovely evening. You're right. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Homely Palace Man, thank you for being here. Lovely seeing you. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you. Trish Salsa, thank you. Oh, I try my best. I really do. I just want this to be a lovely, safe community for everyone. So thank you for your kind words. Thank you. Oh, Homely Palace Mum, have a lovely holiday. Enjoy. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. If you can't make it Friday, don't worry. Yeah, thank you. Strawberry. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it helped. Thank you, Elaine Owens. It's so lovely to see you as always. Just Tracy Williams. So nice to see you. Yeah, eggs and toast. Mondays and Fridays. Friday at 10 a.m. Monday at 5 p.m. Thank you for being here, everyone. Really appreciate it. Oh, lovely. See you Friday, Tracy. Thank you, Louise Johnson. Thank you, Ziggy Plays Guitar. See you Friday, everyone. So lovely to see you. Take care. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go and have a nice cup of tea now. So you take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.